Me.
Hello, Lamely. Welcome back to Me. I Am a Memoir, the meaning of Mariah Carey. We are still listening to the Butterfly album. We listened to it so intently that we only got through 4 tracks. So we've just we've climbed down off the roof. This is Fab. That is Posh. Normally, we read Mariah Carey's memoir, The Meaning of Mariah Carey, but we are so invested in her recording this album at the moment that we've decided to listen to the album, and it is an intense experience.
It is.
For both of us. I have given 4 infinities so far.
I've given 1. Well, I gave 1 infinity, 1 whisper of infinity, 1 5, and 1 4.5. So that's still pretty good.
It's pretty good for you.
Yeah, well, just wait for what's coming.
Oh, dear. All right, well, let's break on down the next chunk of the Butterfly.
Break me on down. All right, so the next track is 4th of July, which for me was a first listen. Written by Mariah and Snuffleupagus. Now, there was no release for this, so we don't have any stats. We don't have much behind the scenes either. So you can just dive on into your thoughts on the 4th of July.
The 4th of July, I feel, is you're probably going to hate because it feels like a better version of Underneath the Stars.
My first line is... might suffer from underneath the staritis.
It does have like that vibe, that kind of late summer, early autumn, you know, going back to school. I feel like, you know the song Summer Loving from Greece, you know, that kind of vibe. It's got that sort of, oh, I may never see you again. Thanks for fingering me at the end of the camp.
Oh my God.
I let you get up my jumper and I'll remember it forever. So it's got that kind of vibe to it, which, you know, that's one of the things I loved about Underneath the Stars. But this feels like a more robustly structured song. It feels more... whereas Underneath the Stars felt like a kind of plaintive, you know, remembrance of what it was like being a teenager. This one feels like I remember what it was like being a teenager. And I don't know if that's because she's recently had some vitamin D.
A sunny day can really put a spring in your step.
Really put a spring in your step. I mean, 4th of July, it's the height of summer in America. In the Northern Hemisphere. To us, it's freezing cold. It's winter. Yeah. Why would you sing
those fingers are freezing.
Yeah. No, you're not taking your gloves off or anything. I did love a fingerless glove. But yeah, I really like, again, listening to this again this week, I was like, oh, that's right, this song's here. Like, you get after the roof and you can't climb down off the roof and then you go and have some fireworks.
She's celebrating on the street.
And it's, and it does have that really kind of innocent, burgeoning love kind of feeling to it. And I think it's so sweet, but I think I honestly think it's a better version of Underneath the Stars. And I love Underneath the Stars. And you hate it.
Wow. Let me put it this way. I think it is equally as good as Underneath the Stars.
When I heard it today, I'm like, oh, Posh is going to hate this.
So I actually I put some thought into it as to what is it. So this is what I wrote. Look, I will say the breathy vocals throughout this one are not my favourite.
Yes.
I don't mind it normally, but for some reason on this it wasn't my favourite. But I did write, I just don't think this 70s sound that she's going for is for me. It's just not. It's the one that wouldn't matter who did it.
That is plinkety plonkety.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Because she was going for that with Underneath the Stars, and now
he's gone for a bit 50s. She's gone for 90s, and they've
ended up
in
in
the 70s.
So I've said, it's not awful. It's just not what I go for. It's a little too wholesome.
Well, yes.
And then I wrote...
And I feel like that is something like... Because she's pulling away from that in so much of this album. It feels like... This feels like the only track that would fit comfortably on that debut album.
Sure, yeah.
This feels like the only track that would just happily sit alongside, Prisoner. Or
I mean, Prisoner is an infinity song, but...
All in Your Mind. Like this,
sure.
this could sit there and you'd be like, oh, this feels like Mariah going to the record company, I'll write you a song that you want.
Yeah, all right. We'll tack it on. You need one more.
And I'll still do it my style so that it still sounds a little bit grimy.
So the other thing that I've compared it to is it'd be like if your partner wrote a song about you and made you sit there and listen and you had to say you like it even though you feel incredibly uncomfortable. And it's sweet, but couldn't you just not do that?
Yeah.
Or, of course, for me, worse, being proposed to in public. It's like, I do want to be proposed to, but not in public. So it's kind of like, I do want Mariah singing songs well, just not this one.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I think this is the Afanasievness, I think, is ascendant in this song a bit more.
So it's not my fault. It's his.
It's his. But yeah, I mean, I still do love 4th of July. Like, it's, when it came on today, I was like, oh, yes, you're here. You're this little breather in between After the Roof. Because After the Roof, which is a really intense, kind of gritty, very modern sound, it is actually kind of nice to get this, old school Mariah, like this kind of, I
just wish it was a different school.
It's just kind of like Always Be My Baby-esque or a little bit,
no, it's not. No, it's nothing like that.
It's just got that kind of cutesy, summery feel to it. Like, so summery, she's named it after a summer holiday.
That's true.
This was possibly, she's gone, well, I've nailed Christmas. Now
I was going to say. She's like, yeah. I've got stars. She's got Easter. It's happening.
I've got to do some summer songs.
I wanted to like it more than Underneath the Stars, but I can't lie. So I gave it the exact same score that I gave to Underneath the Stars, which is 3.5. Could have been worse, honestly.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Look, for me, it's just shy of infinity. But it's, because it's like, if this was on another album, it would be a definite infinity. But after 4 infinity songs,
yeah, sure,
it's just like, it feels like a breather. But I don't think I can give it below infinity. Like, I don't think I can go as low as 5.
That's what's so funny. Like, I love that the way you see it as a 5 out of 5 is like this horrible low score. I'm like, no, that's a really good score. 5 out of 5. Infinity is reserved for
I'm telling
incredible feats of songwriting.
There are songs coming on later albums that will definitely be getting low scores. And I can swear that to you.
There might be one on this album that's
no.
going to have a record low score.
Dare you? But yeah, it's just under infinity.
All right.
It's unfinity.
All right, so since we're breaking everything on down, I think it's time we break the breakdown.
Break down, steady bring me up and down.
So what I'm just realizing that is really fun is looking at the writers' names. We're getting real names. So it's written by Mariah Carey, Anthony Henderson, Charles Scruggs, and Stevie J.
Yep.
I'm guessing that's Crazy Bone and Wishbone.
Maybe.
In there. But so, okay, we got to number 38 in Australia. It mustn't have been released or charted in the US. We're featuring Crazy Bone and Wishbone, who I can only hope is the dog from the television series of the same name.
No.
Because Mariah has that kind of dog. So I feel like she would totally have Wishbone the dog on a song.
She would.
Absolutely.
They were quite big at the time.
So this is a little section of an interview with Mariah about this song. She says, okay, I worked with Crazy and Wishbone of Bone Thugs, and I was totally inspired by their style, first of all. I mean, it's obvious when you hear the song. And we had quite the interesting recording session. And the interviewer says, meaning what? Mariah says, it was It was interesting. The interviewer says, you keep making these allusions to stuff that went on. It was interesting. ... And Mariah says, no, it was great. I loved them. But I was having an allergy attack. I was having a little problem and the studio was kind of smoky and things were going on. Can't imagine what was happening.
So many allergies with Mariah.
So many allergies. So we do have a video. The little synopsis from yours truly. Mariah giving Sally bowls with a bun. Showgirls. Showgirls, chairography, gold eyeshadow. There's some other showgirls and light bulbs. Mariah does some chair squats. Now a butterfly. Mariah stands / lays in front of a colourful butterfly catwalk wearing what I can only assume is the fur of the horse from the butterfly video. Mariah is a magician's assistant and also the prize in a game of poker or whatever game they're playing. I don't know games. Now Mariah wears a tiara and decorates her hair with more dead horse. The guys get a moment to wrap it out. Mariah jumps on an expensive bed with 4 men. Bracket, double DP, close bracket. Randomly has a cowboy hat. I don't understand the brief. So my favorite thing is now a butterfly.
Now a butterfly.
So then we have Crazy Bone, a little quote saying, when we did the video shoot, in every scene she had to have a fan like blowing.
Yeah.
We used to always crack jokes like, where's the fan? She can't do the scene without the fan. So I love that even within Mariah's world, the fan is a thing.
The fan. Yeah. Because she's inspired by Diana Ross and Olivia Newton-John.
I only just recently watched Diana Ross's Super Bowl show where she helicoptered out of there. Amazing.
I love Diana.
Me too. I watched the dishes to Diana Ross's Greatest Hits.
It
just makes the dishes easier.
Have you watched the movie with Tracee Ellis Ross and Dakota Johnson? That's meant to be hilarious and amazing.
What's it called?
The High Note.
Oh.
And she, so Tracee Ellis Ross is like a singer, and the record company's trying to, Ice Cube is her record company exec guy. And in the trailer that I watched the other day, it's like, no, we want to talk about a Vegas residency. And Dakota Johnson's like, I think you should do another album. She's going, tell me any woman over 40 who's had a number one. And I'm like, oh, Mariah. But she wasn't 40 in real numbers.
No, that's it. I mean, there are a lot, but maybe not in America.
Yeah. But yeah, it looks like a fun movie. We should watch it.
Okay.
Have a watch party.
Yay.
But
I don't know
how
how
did I
that
get to
works.
Tracee Ellis Ross?
All I can think of, just really quickly, whenever we talk about things that are like YouTube-esque,
yes,
all I can think of is Tracey Ullman as the Queen in Death to 2020, which I've not watched all of, but I've watched her clip.
She's so
where
funny.
she...
it is a really
where
funny
she's-
show. It's only about an hour.
I need to watch it because I love
Lisa
Lisa Kudrow. As well. Yeah,
is
she's amazing.
Perfect.
I watch that video all the time. But yeah, when she's on the Queen's like speech, she's on YouTube and she's like, now smash that like button and press subscribe. I was like, oh my God. And then it's got on the side like Queen reacts to the crown or unboxing like Prince Philip or something.
So funny.
All right. So what are your thoughts on the breakdown?
Breakdown. Well, when Breakdown comes on, it is another reason to go, oh, I see why we need it to have 4th of July in there, which kind of pumps it up even more for me. Maybe I do have to go into infinity. Because it's like, you couldn't go from the roof to Breakdown. Like you would have no fingers left because you would be raw.
Where'd they go?
I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so... steady breaking me up and down. And I love the rapping in it. Like it is really it's kind of energetic, even though it's quite a low tempo song.
Yeah, sure.
Like I love that kind of that wordplay. I love that Mariah's joining in a bit on that wordplay, like in her structuring the lyrics, like to kind of, like she says, to join in with their vibe. And it's just, this is one of those songs. Again, I don't understand the releasing of everything on this album because it feels like such an integral part of the album. It's like oh, there's that song, and then there's that song, then there's that song. And so when I listen to it...
And then there's that horrible 4th of July, but then there's that other song. I
love the 4th of July.
Sorry, I'm already going to be cancelled by all of the Lamb listeners.
Yeah, they all hate you already.
That's fine.
But yeah, no, Breakdown is just, again, and it feels like, oh, this is new Mariah. This is...
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what I love about Butterfly so much is that we've got the old school Mariah and Walter Afanasieff stuff. Like 4th of July is probably the most traditional one of those.
Yes.
And that's a little like that's even still got a little bit more of Mariah, new Mariah sound kind of going into it, in her vocal delivery, and a bit of the production. But yeah, like I love this. It's just kind of like a nice grinding, bouncing little bit of business, and it's not like she's not too showy in it.
Yeah. Do you know what it reminds me of? Like an early Shake It Off.
Yeah.
It's that kind of it's not upbeat, but it's not slow.
Yeah.
It's sort of she doesn't overdo it.
No.
It just kind of sits in its own little moment.
And it's one of those things that this is like one of her crazy skills in that, it's almost like she knows when she's got a song that is not great. Like there's, those couple of upbeat numbers on Music Box where you're like, yeah, the song's okay, so I'm just going to sing the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
So that I kind of hide all the bullshit. Like she basically drowns out the terrible parts of the song with incredible vocals.
Yeah.
And this one, it's like, no, this is a good song.
Yeah, I don't need to do that.
I'm going to just let this song be, and I'm just going to sing the bits I need to sing in the way I like to sing.
Yeah.
And
I need a break in the concert, darlings.
Yeah, and it feels like a break in the album. We've just had 4th of July, which is like a structurally musical break, and this one is like a vocal break. Like this is like I'm just gonna have a little rest. I'm gonna have some of my mates come in. They're gonna do a bit of rap while I have a glass of champagne.
I'm gonna splash.
But yeah, I really do love the simplicity of it, and the fact that it feels like that it was starting to come out a little bit in those. Those first few tracks on side 2 of Daydream. Yeah. And now it's like, oh no, this whole album is doing that. Like this is all we've taken our baby steps and now we're taking a big step.
So for me on the listen, this was one of the ones that on first listen I liked straight away.
Yeah.
I felt like it was slightly more anchored and melodic. Just sort of off the bat, like it was like, oh yeah, cool, I know what this is. Similar to what you're saying, it didn't need to be overly flashy, because it was just good. It's like, oh yeah, cool. The rap I thought gave it a little more light and shade, and I'm also glad that there is a radio edit, because this many long songs in a row, darlings, there's a lot. There is like 8 5-minute songs in a row.
There's a lot. This album is big. It's a big album. The only thing
I would say about this one is, though I liked it initially, I still like it the same amount. It hasn't really gone any further, if that makes sense. Whereas something like Butterfly wasn't so sure, but it grew on me. Yep. This is sort of still in that area, but that's okay as well. Like it's probably, like I said, similar for me with Shake It Off, where it's like, oh, I like this one. Yeah. I'm not going to skip it. I'm happy, but it's not the first one I go to either.
But I think that's a vocal thing. Like when she sings the fuck out of a song, you're like, I need to go back and hear that bit again.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas this is like, I'm not doing any showing off.
Yeah,
I'm going to sing this in a really, like her voice is amazing, as it always is. But it's not like a song you go, I want to hear that bit where she sings that bit.
Yeah, sure.
Like you just go, I like this song. So it's, again, this is why I think this album works so well as a whole, is because every song has its place. Like it's, like her calling it her magnum opus is just like, this is the album that everything hangs together perfectly. And her vocal performance and the structure of this song are just perfect for where it is in the album, where it's like we need to just have a little chill moment. We're just going to enjoy this kind of fun ride. And I love it. I love Breakdown.
All right, so for me, along those lines, I went with a 4.5, because like I said, I liked it straight off the bat, but it's not one I'm going to go back to every single day. But what about you? I'm guessing...
Breakfinity.
Lorditer. All right, are we ready for the next track?
Yeah.
We've got Baby Doll, which was a first listen for me, by Mariah Carey, Missy Elliott, Stevie J, someone Rooney. I've already spoken about them. Now, this song was written with Missy Elliott in a hotel room after a little too much crystal. Missy had a little nap on the bed.
Yes.
While Mariah finished this song. So... my first line is, I wanted to really like this song because it's Mariah and Missy. But I don't actually think it needed the more hip-hoppy beat.
Right.
I think it kind of dates it.
Yeah.
So what I wrote of it was I don't mind the beat, but I think I would have preferred this particular song as the mid-tempo it otherwise is.
Yeah,
because it has some lovely moments with the sort of the chimes and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, that would have been, for me, kind of the way to go. I think it's because the other beat, the sort of main hip-hoppy sounding beat, reminds me of Ghost Town DJ's My Boo, which is a Jermaine song. Do you know that song?
Yeah, vaguely.
The At Night I Think of You, that song. And I think that just did it a little bit better with that particular sort of beat. So I don't know. I sort of was torn on it. I was like, I kind of want to like it because I love Missy Elliott. I obviously love Mariah. And I don't think it's a bad song at all, but I just couldn't quite get it. And sort of by the 4-minute mark, I was like, okay, I'm ready for this to be over. Too many 5.5-minute songs in a row. Yeah. So I feel kind of bad because it's kind of, for me, a little bit of the Carole King thing.
Right.
Where I don't think these are two fantastic artists, but I don't think it's their best work.
Yeah. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
However,
Infinity, it's Baby Dollfinity.
However, this I think she wrote this song better as Crybaby.
Crybaby Doll.
Crybaby Doll. Because it feels like the same vibe. It feels like that 5 a.m. stuck somewhere, voices in my head. I can't, it's that.
Missy's asleep on the bed.
Yeah, but it's got that sort of vibe to it. But having said that, where it comes in the album, like you've just come out of Breakdown, it's like this is the perfect song for where it sits. Like it's on like some of our other albums, this is the place where you get your too much honky tonk piano and and a kind of late 80s drum machine beat bullshit going on. Like it's yeah. And I totally get what you mean about the Carole King thing, because you're like, I'm expecting this to be amazing because it's Mariah and Missy.
Yeah, and Missy, yeah.
But it is, I think it's exactly the song they would have made together though. Like I don't think, like the Carole King one, you go, oh, that feels like Carole King trying too hard and Mariah trying too hard, and then neither of them doing well. Whereas this one feels like more of a, we've found a groove. It's not the best groove either of them do. Like it's certainly not the kind of, groove she gets into with Jermaine Dupri, but it's, I kind of I think it's like every time I hear a song on this album, I go, oh, maybe this will be the one that I really like this one too. So yeah, I do enjoy the Baby Doll, but yeah, it's not I agree with you. It's not the best song on the album, but yeah, I just think it was. Yeah, I think get rid of the hip hop beat, which that's not because it's hip hop. I quite like that kind of thing, but just on this song, didn't sit well. And then when you get into a song both times and you're at the 4-minute mark going, can this be over? That's a problem. Yeah. It's probably not your favorite song if that's what you're feeling. But yeah, no, I never feel that. I enjoy this one all the way through.
Right. Well, then cancel me because I gave it a 3.5.
Oh, get out. Look, for me, this is probably just 5.
What a horror. Like, somehow your 5 is worse than my 3.5.
I still love it, though.
All right. Next track, Close My Eyes, written by Mariah and Snuffleupagus. And this is one we did get a mention of in the book because it was written in the bath after Schenectady and then held off for about 4 years.
Because she didn't feel she was ready to tell that story.
And she has said that she's never, like in an interview, I think it was the one with Molly Meldrum, she said, I don't normally do that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think she had a whole heap of songs sort of written that weren't completed. Like, she'd either abandoned them because they weren't right or she wasn't liking it, whereas this was kind of one she actually held on to.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. So, thoughts, feelings, where are we?
This is one of the best Mariah songs of all time.
You can relax. This is not the one I give a record low score to.
Like, this is, like, you know, from the to the, you know, just the kind of biographical detail that we get in the song. The, you know, it feels like, so we had the kind of, this feels like the lighter reflection of looking in from the end of Daydream. So we get that and it's like, oh wow, she's not had a good run. And this one you go, oh okay, so she's had a fairly difficult upbringing, but we are finding our feet.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when I steady my feet on the ground, and it's like you go, okay, you are taking charge, you are making something more. And I think that's part of why she probably held on to the song, was because it
wasn't finished yet. Again.
Well, yeah.
Like, literally it wasn't finished yet.
She hadn't got to that point in her life where she could write it with such kind of a positive spin and such a kind of triumphant feeling. But yeah, it feels like on an album which has so many really personal songs, this one feels really personal.
Yeah. Like,
this one feels like, you know, I'm glad it kind of made it into the book in the place where it lives, because it feels like the first draft of that book, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's this is one of those songs that, you know, as soon as it starts, I'm like, oh, the wayward child. He's the wayward child.
Yeah,
Here she is.
You often, I think as soon as the book came out, you're like, that's the name of the thing. It's in the song. So I didn't have a lot to say on this one. I said that the lyrics are great. I recalled listening to this song as well as the acoustic version on the Rarities, which was slightly more stripped back, but pretty much the same thing. So I've sort of gone as saying, I think this is one that just the longer I sit with it, the more I like it. If that makes sense. So I'm not obviously haven't sat with it as long as you have. So my initial score is 4.25, but I wrote that I feel like this will grow on me as well, just as I connect to it more and more. I do actually have a moment somewhere in these notes where I get a little bit more specific into the way that I listen to songs.
Yes.
So that may, when I get to that bit, it may help make sense of some of these scores. Like, there'll be people going, what are you talking about? I'm like, don't worry. There's reasons.
There's reasons. Yeah, well, this is Wayward Finity. But yeah, it's such a, it feels like a triumphant answer to Looking In. Like, it feels like a, yeah.
I keep hearing her song Triumphant.
Yeah.
Every time you say that. See, I am a real lamb. I know Triumphant.
But yeah, you know that it's kind of like, because that last album left us on kind of such a dark place. You're like, oh, like, we love Looking At, but then you get to this, it's like, oh, okay, we've turned a corner.
Yeah, sure.
I like this. This is fun. I feel like we're stepping up. But yeah, I love it.
Stepping up and stepping out.
I love Close My Eyes. And I love how many times she sings it in the book. Like, she just keeps going back to it for reasons.
I know. Yeah.
It's like, because doesn't she sing?
Like this and Petals are the two main.
Yeah. Because isn't this the one she sings on the Rarities at the end? Yeah. Because it was, I think that was a recording from doing the book. It was like, I've sung it so many times in the book.
Yeah, because I went back and went back to our episode to see what I said about it then.
Right.
And you thought it was funny going, she probably just sang it and they decided to turn it into a song. Like, it wasn't even playing. They just went back and like stapled it together.
I wouldn't be surprised. She's gone, I think I've sung this 8 times now. Is it enough to just put a backing on it?
Yeah. So we have about, I think, 4 songs left. I'm wondering, which of these 4 songs do you think that I'll be giving a record low score to?
Do you want me to guess now?
Yes.
I think you're going to give it to the Butterfly reprise.
Well, let's keep going,
Right.
and we'll see.
Oh.
All right. Whenever you call.
Yes.
This one for me was a first listen by Mariah and Snuffleupagus. Now, this did have a video, but it was just live footage, so it wasn't really like a fish kind of thing. My first note is When I Saw You Part 2.
Yes, it is.
It's totally. I wrote, it's cheesy, but I love it, and I loved it from the get-go.
Yeah.
I thought it's it's sort of like a standard track on any other album, but because it's on this, it brings a little drama.
Yeah.
And sort of reassurance that she can still do the drama, darlings.
Yeah. This feels like the ballad counterpoint to the mid-tempo 4th of July. It's like we've got our sweet old school Mariah song, and here we've got our old school Mariah
actually good
ballad.
One, yeah.
But she's doing some really progressive and very interesting things vocally on this song, though. Like, the kind of stopping herself before doing a belt instead of sliding on into the note. And, and also, again, her voice is a little raw, which it's, and I know I talk a lot about remixes and things. There is a version of this on the Number Ones album.
Yes, I did touch on that.
Yeah, which you kind of go, oh, this is weird. Because, I always am, because with most of her remixes, she goes in and re-sings it in whatever key it is. Whereas that's one where you're like, oh, he's just popped in and sung over the top of whatever.
Yeah.
Replace that verse with him.
Yeah.
And he can just try and keep up.
Yeah. So I wrote a whole paragraph on this one as well. So I will say this is probably, I was really happy to get to this song because there was a couple that we've just gotten to that weren't my favorites. So I was really excited. And as I'm listening to it, I'm like, don't fuck it up. Keep it as it is, if that makes sense. Because I was like, I'm really enjoying it. I just want to enjoy it. Blah, blah. My only criticism of this song, and it's kind of minor, but it kind of really got me thinking, I suppose, is the key change.
Yeah.
We do love a key change.
We love a key change.
We know we love a key change. But I felt in this song, it didn't need it.
No.
I wrote that the song was already building how it needed to. I think the key change was one step too far. And it felt a little forced because normally key changes are either really earned or they're so subtle you don't even know they happened and suddenly you just swept away.
Yeah.
But this song was already sweeping you away. So it just kind of was like, don't know if it needed it. It kind of felt like, and this is not true because this song is good enough, but it felt like when a song is not good enough and Jessica Simpson's on it, and then they're like, oh, we better put a key change because it's not that good and it'll sound better.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the one thing I was like, damn it, Afanasieff.
But that's one of the things, I feel like in the singing of this song, she's recognized that because she doesn't do the big kind, she kind of steps her way through the key change instead of going, I will sing through it.
Yeah, there was something undecided about it.
It's kind of like, I'm going to pause, I'm going to jump back in, I'm going to bring my vocals right back down, and then I'm going to belt it out. Like it is
which is a great idea in theory. I just don't know if it was 100% successful.
And I think that's part of when you hear the one with Brian McKnight on it, I feel like they paper over those cracks with his vocals. He does the sliding into the key change.
Yeah, I will say the reason I listened to that version is because I wanted to hear if it was different in this part. So what was really interesting is, number one, yes, the key change worked much better in that version because of exactly what you just said. And it also leaned into those sort of male-female love ballads that use that kind of thing. So I kind of got it more. The thing that was really interesting going from a solo song to a duet was Mariah's version, the solo version, which I think I do prefer generally.
Yes.
That feels like a journal entry.
Yeah.
Whereas the Brian McKnight version, while still sounding great, it feels like a couple's duet, a conversation.
Yeah.
And I think I prefer the solo perspective on it.
And I think, one of the reasons I really, as much as I love When I Saw You, I love I love this song because she's being so inventive vocally, because she's like, oh, I've sung this fucking song 12 times.
Yes, yeah.
I have done this to death, Walter. But sure, we'll do another one because you need your fucking royalties. Like, I'm still paying Ben Margulies for this 4th album. Right. But yeah, I feel like she has just gone, I want this album to be the most different album I've ever done. So even here, when I'm doing a very traditional Mariah Carey ballad, I am going to keep it interesting for myself. And I feel like that the addition of Brian McKnight was a way to
sell the number ones.
Yeah, to go, oh, we can make this a single if we throw someone else on it. But you know what? Like, for someone who is a Mariah Carey fan who has heard her sing that song 7 times.
Have you heard it live?
No. I mean,
in other songs,
just not that particular song, but that kind of a song. Like, you've heard her sing it. It's like, if she sang it the way she always sings it, you would go, why didn't she just put When I Saw You on here?
Yes,
or why didn't she put All I've Ever Wanted on here? Yeah. Like, why didn't she just put one of her fucking Afanasieff by the Numbers ballads on here? Like, she's really trying to reinvent the way she sings a ballad. Yeah. And it's like, well, for all the other songs, I've brought in guest artists, or I've used hip-hop beats, or I've used samples. But here, I'm going to experiment with how I approach singing a big song.
Yeah, sure.
And also, we're mindful of, like, she's just been on a big tour, so she's probably thinking, how can I sing this and still be able to sing it in concert?
Yeah, sure.
Like, because if I'm doing a big ass key change every fucking night for the 6 months, I will have nothing left. I will shred my throat.
Shred. So what is your score for this track?
Well, it's infinity. Winfinity.
I feel like you will be happy because I gave this one, it's not quite there, but it's the cusp of infinity.
You're on the cusp.
Because I said the solo version with no key change would be infinity.
Yeah.
That's, and I think it was because I just wanted it so much to be, I think what I wanted it, if that makes sense. I was literally listening to it, don't fuck it up. And she didn't fuck it up. It was,
and the other thing, like, that kind of drop sing thing, like, was very unusual. Like, everyone does it now. Like, but then it was like, Whitney did it in I Will Always Love You. But other than that, like, no one really did the kind of, like, let's just stop it and then have a crack.
Do it again. Oh my God.
But now it feels like it's just all anyone ever does. It's like, oh yeah, let's drop the music out and then shout. And it never sounds good. But yeah, I think I really like how inventive she is singing this song.
Feeling like we might have a part 3 on our hands.
I think we might have a part 3 on our hands.
Because we've still got 3 songs to get through. And we've just done 3 songs in 38 minutes.
Have we only done 3?
Yeah. So I think we will leave it here, darling. And pick up Butterfly in the next episode. Don't worry, it won't be far away.
Oh, we have triple DP'd Butterfly.
Yeah, triple DP'd. I'm surprised. But I think because I knew what I had to say, but I knew what I had to say, but I knew that you would have even more.
But also, I knew that there were like 400 film clips.
Okay, great.
All right. All right.
Bye, Lamely.
Bye, Lamely.